Getting started up. Oh, there we go. Holy, look at everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for coming for my first live stream. Um, for everybody that doesn't know me, my name is Chris Claus. I am a part of the Cross and the Crescent discussion group. We host this every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we also host a show on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have a website, crossandthecrescent.com. And also, we have a YouTube page plus my YouTube page here. So we have lots of content for everybody to be able to go through. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Hope. Hello, Eric, Carolina. Everybody else that's in the chat. Sorry, I can't see everybody quite yet. But today I wanted to discuss the Injeel. The Injeel is the Islamic gospel that was given to Jesus. I was actually speaking with a Muslim named Rashid yesterday, and he tried to tell me that the Injeel was lost, that there's no trace of it whatsoever. So I figured maybe I should do a show on that because Muslims are starting to lie to Christians about the Injeel. So let's get into this. What do Muslims think the Injeel is? Well, if a Muslim was talking to a Christian about the Injeel around 800 um, AD, you would hear them say, what you have said, you report only from your gospel and your new books. However, we have the first true gospel. We received it from our prophet, and it contradicts that which is in your possession. For after the ascension of Christ into heaven, John and his followers revised the gospel, set it down, and what was in their possession uh, as they wished. This is what our prophet has handed down to us. So basically, a couple of hundred years after Muhammad, you would have heard people just saying your scripture's corrupted. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. Just it's corrupted. It's different than ours, and we just don't accept it. So I got a few quotes here. This is from Ibn Hazm. This is around a this is around 1,000 years ago, or sorry, around 1,000 AD. Sorry. The Muslim theologian was one of the first to comprehensively develop the Islamic teaching on the way that the Bible has been tampered with by Christians concerning the Injil, he said. Again, a Muslim theologian was one of the first to comprehensively develop the Islamic teaching on the way that the Bible has been tampered. Now, did everybody just hear that? It was a Muslim theologian. It wasn't Muhammad. He didn't say it was our prophet that started this. He said it was a Muslim theologian. So, roughly about 200 years after the death of Muhammad, right around 800 AD, this is when the nonsense of the corruption of the New Testament started creeping in. Now, going on to around 1400 AD, we have Ibn Khaldun, and he says in his commentary, he said that the gospel descended on the Muslim Jesus. He used a word to describe this descent, which is exactly the same as the descent of the Quran, in which he always describes the descent of revelation. So we have Ibn Khaldun stating in 1400 AD that the gospel, the Injil, descended upon Jesus. And in the exact same sense, the Quran descended upon Muhammad. So to me, at around 1400 AD, Ibn Khaldun is basically saying there's no corruption whatsoever. It come down to Jesus the same way that our Quran come down to Muhammad, right from heaven, and you cannot change Allah's words. Ibn Khaldun was um, a very good guy at that point, by the sounds of it. Now let's get into 1900 AD. This is Tahir al-Jazairi. This Muslim scholar from Algeria wrote both a creedal statement and a catechism for his Islamic students in around the turn of the 20th century. The creedal statement affirms it is to be believed that Allah has books which he sent down. Again, let me just quote for this again. It is to be believed that Allah has books which he send down to his prophets, in which he makes clear his commands and his prohibit. prohibits his promises and his threats, and that they are truly the speech of Allah, having their own origin from him, though we do not know just how he spoke. These books he sent down by way of inspiration, and among them are the Torah, the Injeel, the Zabur, and the Quran. His Islamic disciple memorizes the following answer to the question as to what is the Injeel. And his student says, I believe that the Injeel is one of the books of the Most High, which he revealed to the Messiah Jesus in order to explain truths, call humanity to profess the oneness of the Creator, and to cancel certain secondary laws of the Torah according to necessary measures, and to announce the coming of the seal of the prophets. Now, again, in all of that, what I've just read by Tahir al-Jaziri, around 1900 AD, he does not say that the Injeel is corrupted, and neither does his student. His student actually says that it is one of the books from our God, which he gave to Jesus, and this is what it confessed at the time. So this student is saying that they know about the Injeel and that it's not corrupt. But then we get into one of the the Quran translators. Now this is Yusuf Ali, and this is around 1930. One of the most popular English renditions of the Quran is by a man named Yusuf Ali. In the notes in the meaning of the glorious Quran, he says about the Injeel. The Injeel spoken of by the Quran is not the New Testament. It is not the four Gospels now received as canonical. It is the single gospel which Islam teaches was revealed to Jesus and which he taught. Now he says fragments of it survive in the received canonical gospels and in some others of which traces survive. Now I want to pause there because we know what he means when he says that they have traces, right? And this has to deal with the other scriptures, like the Gospel of Thomas, the infancy Gospels, the Gnostic Gospels, things to this nature. And this is basically what Yusuf Ali is telling us, is that in some others of which the traces still survive. So even outside of the canonical Gospels, there are still traces of this Injil which survive today, which is completely fabrication, right? So, what I want to do is I want to read some of the verses of the Quran just to see if what we see is that it is either a book or it's just simply revelation given to Jesus and oral tradition. Now, a lot of Muslims now, I believe that the Injil given to Jesus, if it was, a Muslim should actually have to say that it was an oral tradition given to Jesus, and when he spoke these things, people penned them down. That's what we see in the Quran. That's what we see with Moses. That's what we see with David and the Zabur, and the rest of the prophets that Islam actually acknowledges. They actually believe that when the prophet was inspired with the scriptures, they spoke it, and they also had people penning this stuff down. But yet, not with Jesus. I wonder why. All right, so we'll go to Surah 275 and 79. I kind of put them together. And it says, Can ye entertain the hope that we believe in you, seeing that a party of them heard the word of Allah and perverted it, knowing after they understood it? Then woe to those who write the book with their hands and say it is from Allah to traffic for its miserable price. Woe to them for what is in their hands do right, and for the gain they make thereby in. So again, this isn't speaking about the New Testament. So if you have a Muslim quote Surah 2, verses 275 to 279, and try to tell you that this tells you that the Injil is corrupt, basically just laugh at them and say, where in this verse does it say the Injil? Because not even in the verse previously or in between does it actually mention the Injil being corrupted. Actually, Muslims believe that it was the Old Testament that was really actually corrupted, because that's where they pulled this verse from. Because it even says here, woe to those who write the book with their own hands. Where do we see this in the Old Testament? Right? And this wasn't actually about the Old Testament, but Muhammad didn't really know much. So this is basically his way of messing up the story. Now, going on to Surah 3, verse 78, it says, there is among them a section who distort the book with their tongues. You would think it is a part of the book, but it is no part of the book. And they say, that is from Allah, but it is not from Allah. It is they who tell a lie against Allah, and they know it. Now, here in Surah 3, verse 78, it actually says that when people speak, the words that come out of their mouth are not the same as the words that are on the paper. So basically, what they're saying is they're translating the words wrong. So when the Old Testament or the New Testament would have made it into Arabia at the time, it would not have been written in Arabic to start off with. So you would have had the Greek, Aramaic, and the Hebrew readings of it there. So when they're reading it, the Muslims at the time didn't realize that the words would translate into what they did. So when they were trying to translate the words into Arabic so that they would understand them, they felt like they were changing the words of the text, but they weren't changing the words of the text. It was just the way that they spoke the words. So again, this doesn't say that the Old Testament or the New Testament was corrupted. Now going to Surah 5, verse 13. But for breaking their covenant, we condemned them and hardened their hearts, and they distorted the words of Scripture and neglected a portion of what they had been commanded to uphold. You, O prophet, will always find deceit on their part, except for a few, but pardon them and bear them. Indeed, Allah loves the good doers. So here's trying to tell us that there is a certain part, as I was saying before, that we're changing the words just with merely their mouth, not actually with their hands. But this verse actually also says, and weirdly enough, and if anybody actually reads the Quran and assumes that this is from a divine source, just look at the grammar problems within the Quran. This actually looks like it might have been written by somebody that has about an eighth grade knowledge in literature. But anyways, and even here it says, "O prophet, you will always find deceit on their part." And this is because Muhammad didn't like the Jews. The Jews didn't accept Muhammad, so Muhammad didn't like the Jews, and he always tried to say that the Jews' scriptures were corrupted because he had to. Now, the reason he had to is he wanted to assert his prophethood. Now, we know that in the Bible, or in the Old Testament, that the prophethood come through the line of and through Isaac and Jacob, but not through Ishmael. So therefore, the Bible or the Old Testament has to be corrupt because these Jews are saying, you're not even a descendant of Isaac. How can you be a prophet? And this is just some of the arguments that Muhammad would have had to go through at the time. But it shows you why the Jews would not accept Muhammad as an actual prophet from God. So Surah 5, verse 14, just continuing on from 13, it says, and for those who say, we are Christians, we took their covenant, but they neglected a portion of what they have been commanded to uphold. So we let hostility and enmity arise between them until the day of judgment. And soon Allah will inform them of all they have done. Now, this verse, I'm going to put this into the text because this really irks me that Muslims don't even understand that what their Quran actually says. So in here, it actually states, oh, sorry, that that Allah basically let hostility and enmity arise between the Christians. But that's not true, is it? Because didn't Allah say that he would keep the followers of Jesus upright and successful and victorious until the day of resurrection? Now, I just want to pose a question out there to my Muslim friends that may be watching this video in the future. How can Allah guarantee that he is going to keep the followers of Jesus victorious until the day of judgment if he allows hostility and enmity to arise between them. That to me, it just doesn't make sense. Or unless that's how they're going to be um, successful, is to fight amongst themselves. That really sounds like a good idea, Law. So another few ones that you could look up. I don't really have the time in here because I didn't want to make this too long. I want to get into some talking with some of the viewers here as well. But you can go to Surah 6, verse 91, Surah 4, verse 46, Surah 3, verse 187, Surah 5, verse 15, and of course, Surah 2, verse 159. Now, now that we've went through what Muslims have said in the past, and now we've went through what the Quran has actually said about the Injeel, what do you think the actual Hadith would say about it? So this is narrated by Abu Huraira. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 6, book 60, number 12. And it says here, the people of the scripture, Jews, used to recite the Torah in Hebrew, and they used to explain it in Arabic to the Muslims. On that, Allah's apostle said, do not believe the people of the scripture or disbelieve them, but say, we believe in Allah and what He has revealed to us. So basically, all of this confusion about the Old Testament and the New Testament being corrupted, there was actually, Abu Huraira says right in the Hadith that no, it's not. It's not at all. And we've went through these with the inside the Quran as well. And it actually, all of these verses that appeal to changing verses or missaying words in the translation, it's all to do with the Jews. The only thing that you can find about the Christians in the Quran to deal with the Injeel is just basically that they broke their covenant. But it never gives you how the Christians broke their covenant. And what covenant did Allah make with the Christians? It just doesn't make sense to me. So, anyways, um, this is what I feel about the Injeel. The Injeel is a myth. And I believe that it is the Islamic duty to at least show manuscripts somewhere in history that this actually existed. Rashid actually brought up in the chat that we were talking about the Injeel. And he said that it was lost and that it may be found someday. Now, I know where he's getting this. He got it from Shadid Lewis. Shadid Lewis said this years ago. I believe he was in a debate on if we can trust. No, it wasn't if we can trust the Islamic Jesus. It was, I believe it was Muhammad being prophesied in the previous scripture. He actually held up a Bible. And he's like, is Muhammad in this Bible? Is Muhammad in this Bible? He's not, right? He's not, right? Then it's not the Injil. And he puts the book down. But that's not smart. And then Rashid also said, well, what about the Dead Sea Scrolls? The Dead Sea Scrolls didn't exist until they were found. But my answer to that is we have the manuscripts and the evidence of what contains in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we had all of that information already. That just confirms what we have. It's not something new. And this Injeel is something new. This Injeel, and the problem is that Muslims will say that there are parts of the Injeel that are in the New Testament. That's a complete lie, and I won't let them use that anymore. What's this? I don't believe he knew any proper Christians except the strange Catholics. Yeah, I'm not going to go out there and just start attacking Catholics here, Patrick. So I'll just put that out there as Catholic, the way that you ended that. Oh, I don't even know. Oh, yes. So Muslims will say that the Injil is basically the New Testament, just some pieces in there, just basically as Yusuf Ali had stated there at the end. Now, the problem with this is that they use the cherry picking routine. And they always try to say that the Quran is the criteria. So whatever agrees with the Quran, then they can accept. Whatever doesn't agree with the Quran, then that's corrupted. That is the worst type of criteria I'd ever seen in my life. Because let's just take a look at this. Now, in the Islamic worldview, Jesus is no more than a Muslim, right? Just a prophet. That's it. That's all. Where in the New Testament can they quote from to prove Muhammad is a true prophet? Because that's what they do, right? They go to these comforter verses. They go to certain, well, not too many more places in the New Testament because they're not that. There's not too many places that they can try to hide Muhammad in. But they go to John and they try to prove that Muhammad is the comforter. But that doesn't work in their worldview. And the verse that they're using disagree with what their Quran says about Jesus. Because, of course, as I said, their Quran says that Jesus is just a prophet, just like any other prophet before him. But the problem with that in John is that the comfort, or when Jesus says that he will send the comforter, again, Jesus says that he will send the comforter. Only God sends prophets. So if in fact Muslims want to believe that this comforter is Muhammad, and Muhammad is being foretold as this prophet that was going to be sent, they must agree that from the very verses they're quoting, it is that Jesus is the one that is sending Muhammad to be the prophet. But they're not going to accept that, are they? Because again, only Allah can send prophets. Now, I don't want to go into Deuteronomy 18 and 18. I don't want to go into the prophecies of Muhammad. I just basically wanted to deal with the Injeel. Now, to end this off, unless anybody has questions, I only have about 3 or 4 more minutes. I just want to make this short and sweet today. But when we're dealing with Muslims and when we're dealing with what they believe, I believe as Christians, we need to start titling our debates the way that Muslims believe it. As in, Jesus was only a prophet. Jesus did not die by crucifixion. Um, Mary and Jesus, of course, being God's. And now I love the live stream that Sam Shimon had about the deity of Jesus and Mary in the Quran. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too as well, and I wanted to bring it up during that live stream, but the Quran actually states that Jesus and Mary ate food. Why? Why would an all-knowing being given revelation to humanity be like, oh, whoa, 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 Muhammad, don't forget to tell these people Jesus and his mom ate food? That, to me, that would have to be implied, wouldn't it? So anyway, that does wrap up for what I was just going to say. I do want to thank everybody for stopping by here. Is there any questions that anybody does have while we're here anyway? I want to thank you very much, Jay, Testament Faith, Patrick, um, Longius, a lot of my friends from Discord, definitely Hope and Faith, Carolina, Lisa. Thank everybody for stopping by. Um, I'm not sure if there is questions. Nothing's popping up yet. This is going to be awesome. I know. I just want to thank everybody for supporting me as well. It's been wonderful. And I also want people to stay tuned. Within the next few days, you're going to see me coming up here with a J. So me and Jay have talked with each other today, and we have decided to do a dual or a joint live stream, and we will be refuting Muhammad hijab. Now, I don't want to give too much more away other than just that, but I just want to put that out there. So stay tuned for that as well. And if you do like the videos, please subscribe, like, turn on all notifications. And if you'd like to support the ministry, that would be wonderful as well. Thank you very much, and God bless everybody.